Just setting things up, won't be too long, hopefully. Aircraft call sign, what are we going to be called today? We're going to use a custom call sign. We're going to be Cessna, and we'll go for, now, does this airplane actually have one? Yes, N95 Echo Juliet. November 95 Echo Juliet, there it is, it already knows it, that's good. Okay. I think we've got everything running. We've got OBS running, we've got Navigraph, we've got a little nav map. We don't need that open. Okay, so welcome to the live stream, everybody. This evening we're embarking on the 21st leg of the round the world trip that I've been doing for several months in between other things. We're going to be using the Black Square C208 Cessna 208 Grand Caravan. So let's have a look at it from outside. You can see it here. So our call sign or tail number is November 95 Echo Juliet, or 905. Okay, so we're just getting ready on the ground. I'm going to be working through a written functional procedure to get the airplane up and running to make sure I don't miss anything obvious. Although this airplane is quite straightforward. But anyway, so further overhead, we're going to go and rotate the fuel shutoffs. Before we do that, actually, let's go and open the tablet and see how much fuel the airplane has. Payload. Yeah, we're going to need more than that. So today's route, just so you get to see it as well, is going to take us from Pamti in the, it's fairly in the north of Myanmar, down towards Tachilek. And then we'll obviously after that be crossing over either into Laos or into Thailand. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So a lot of jungle along the way today, but we're staying on the hilly side of the country, so it should be quite interesting terrain to cross. And you can see obviously from the map here, once we clear out of this plain here, it gets quite mountainous. Okay, so we are traveling about 350 miles overall, so we'll give ourselves a bit more. We haven't got any passengers, I think, other than the co-pilots. Well, let me just check the sound, make sure that's all coming through, and it is. That's good. Okay, so that's that done. We're going to be using the GTN 750 today, so we're going to confirm all of that. It's changing the autopilot at the moment, which is all fine. That's all done, so we can hide this out of the way. Get rid of the covers. Okay, so let's just check my controls are working appropriately. So, yep, they are. So we want to go and put the propeller all the way forwards. And then battery goes to on. And then before we go and start the engine up, we need to go and put the beacon light on. And then avionics 1 on. Fuel boost to norm. Actually, we could go for on during startup. And then starter to on or up. I'll go back to the normal place to see this. So we're watching the prop coming up. So that's 10%, 20%. Introduce the fuel. You can see suction's working and the attitude indicator has come to life. So ITT shot up to about 7,000, sorry, and then it's dropping. Oh, sorry, 700, and it's dropping, not 7,000, that would melt the sun. Okay, so once the starter goes beyond 50%, you can, or once the RPM goes beyond 50%, you can do that. Then we can put fuel boost on norm. The generator can go to reset. So there would have been a light up here, and that's now gone away. We can actually turn the fuel boost off completely. Don't need it now. So post engine start, left pedestal switch panel avionics 2 can come on. And then the lower instrument lights, we're going to go and put the nav lights on. Calibrate the altimeters, comma does that. So shift and 2 is avionics. So let's go and get everything ready. We are going to program a very basic flight plan in. So
TOS system test OK.
Go and have a look. We are VYMK, which is correct. So we'll add the next one, VYBM. Then VYLS. And VYKG. And then VYTL for our destination. Whoops. Add waypoint. VYTL, enter. We have a message, which is just the licensing from the system. If we go and look on the map, it should have come up. We can show the same thing here. Might want to show traffic or something on the second screen. Okay, we've got the RNAV computer as well, which is quite useful. We won't be using it typically, we'll be using nav1, which will then use the CDI mode. So we are using, if I go select it, GPS mode. There we go. Okay, so then weather radar we'll leave on standby for the moment. Bleed air can go on. We can rotate cabin temperature as required. We'll leave it as it is and see what happens. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to go. So let's have a look around the aeroplane. Just double checking a few things. So we do have a tower frequency. Let's see if this is working today then. 118.7. Has it tuned in? Yes, it has. Excellent. And I'm not sure what runway we will be departing from, so we'll go and have a look at this over here. So wind is 1 knot. Let me just make sure we're using live weather. We should be. It won't be live time because it's going to be way too late. But yeah, we've got live weather going on. And then we can click out of here. Right, so we want to request taxi to departure runway. There is no wind at the moment. So we were Echo Juliet, weren't we? Cessna 995 Echo Juliet, was it? Yeah. And it's written over here, which is really useful. So 38 centigrade in the cockpit. Oh my word. Hopefully it will cool down a bit when we're in the air. So let's go and put the air conditioning on cooling. can hear the rumble from it immediately. Let's see if that starts to drop. Tower, Cessna, Echo, Juliet, requesting taxi for departure. Tower, Cessna 905, Echo Juliet, radio check.
Cessna 5, Echo Juliet, 5 by 5.
Tower, Cessna 5, Echo Juliet, requesting taxi for departure.
Cessna 5, Echo Juliet, runway 04, taxi at your discretion.
Runway 04, taxi at our discretion, Cessna 95, Echo Juliet. Okay, so we need to do a right turn. And turn the head tracking on.
Approaching runway 4. On runway 4 remaining. 6,700 feet.
It's made 1 degree of difference. Once we've got the air flowing through the cockpit, we'll be okay, but okay. I think we're good. I've checked everything. We've got high cabin temp. Wonder what we can do about that. We've got this on low. Let's put the fans on high. Yeah, it's dropping, look. Just trying to get the cabin temperature down so the light goes out. Tower, Cessna 905, Echo Juliet, lined up runway 04.
Cessna 5, Echo Juliet, hold position, advise ready for departure.
Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, ready for departure.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, runway 04, wind 020 at 4, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 04, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet. Okay, that's takeoff done. Actually, we'll leave the recognition light on. Just turn the taxi lights off. The landing lights off, sorry. How are we doing with temperature in the cabin? Down to 21, that's much better. So that's where we've just departed from. Just bringing the course round. Just coming up to 3,000 feet, which would be plenty for the moment. So let's go and sort the altitude out. Yep, it's rounding off at 3,000 feet for altitude hold. And then we'll press the nav button and it's going to track across onto the GPS because we're off to one side of it at the moment. You can see it doing it there, look. Okay, so we're off and on our way. I'm going to go and have a fiddle with Say Intentions and give us a tour guide in the cockpit. So we can ask about place names along the way, which is always quite useful. So intercom. Oh, it's in your crew. They've moved it, haven't they? I keep forgetting this.
King Air 177 ready to go, straight out. King Air 177, wind 020 at 4, runway 4, cleared for takeoff. Safe travels.
So we want...
Cleared for takeoff for King Air 177.
Sarah to go in place of Amanda. We've got Chance on intercom 3 and we've got the cabin crew. We don't need cabin crew either. Should we have another tour guide so we get the option? We'll go with... we can't do that. That's a shame, isn't it? Okay, not a problem. So we'll put... Can we do that? No, we can't. So mentors. We'll put chance on the second channel. There we go. So that should, I don't think you have to save that, should happen live. That's good. So minimize that. And we'll let the airfield know we're leaving them to the south. Pamti Tower, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, leaving your airspace to the south.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, leaving airspace approved.
Okay. So the VFR transponder code in Myanmar. Oh, there is no single VFR transponder code. For domestic flights, it's 3400. So let's go do that. That was interesting. Why did that affect the aeroplane? We're down to 14 degrees in the cabin now, so I'm going to go and turn these back down to low. Oops. There we go. Okay. So we've got about 18 minutes until we get to the first waypoint. There's not a lot to see along here other than the hills, so I'll just leave the view there for the moment. We're whistling along, torque is looking good, propeller is looking good. What's the fuel burn rate like? Yeah, look at this airplane. It always does this. It drinks from the right tank a lot more than the left. So therefore we're going to turn off the right tank for a while and force it to drink from the left wing to even them up. I wonder if it's something I've done, or although I've seen lots of people have exactly the same issue with it, so it's not. I don't think it's anything I'm specifically doing. We did do a left circuit, but that doesn't explain it. Yeah, why is it drinking from that particular tank? Anyway. We were going to ask the tour guide, weren't we? Hi Sarah, how are you doing?
Hi there, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm good. So we've just left Pamti. What can you tell us about Pamti?
Pamti is a small village in northern Myanmar, known for its proximity to the mountainous terrain and the rich biodiversity of the region, making it a spot of interest for those who enjoy remote and scenic landscapes.
There we go. So, Say Intentions have significantly improved the software over the last few months. So you'll notice now that Sarah is only going to interject when I talk to her. And also they've put lots of other controls in, so you can control in quite a lot of detail how the controllers interact with you and what they are liable to do to you in terms of redirecting, or if they're going to introduce sudden things that have happened en route. So we can force them, for example, to stick to, if we were doing an IFR flight plan, we can now force them to stick to the plan we filed rather than vectoring us, which is far more realistic, by the way. It'd be far more realistic if they did vector us. If it's quiet airspace, what's the point in sending you around the houses when they can vector you straight in? Anyway, but it gives you that option now. So let's bring the RPM down a bit more.
Beechcraft 10 tree, ready to taxi. Beechcraft 10 tree, runway 4 taxi at your discretion. Runway 4 taxi, our discretion, Beechcraft 10 tree.
Okay, we're doing about 145 knots. I'm just playing around with the throttle and the RPM to see about getting the NG down, which is the gas turbine speed. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Obviously it'll make a difference to our estimated time en route to the next waypoint. Shall we go to clearance?
10 tree, holding short of 4, ready for takeoff.
There's not a lot of other traffic around, to be honest.
Wind 020 at 4, runway 4 cleared for takeoff. 4 cleared for takeoff. Beechcraft 10 tree.
So to get some coverage along the way, I'm going to talk to centre and get flight following. Centre Cessna Echo Juliet, or 905 at Echo Juliet at 3,000 feet en route to Tachilek, requesting flight following.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, squawk 1437 and ident. Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, radar contact. 30 south of Nampong Air Base at 3,000 feet. Meet Kina QNH 1011.
QNH 1011, Echo Juliet. And that's about what we've got. If I press comma, it will just tweak it slightly, so it will automatically put it to the local barometric pressure. Use the rudder trim to correct the slip indicator. Let's have a look. Let's move this out of the way. Oh, is that what's throwing? Interesting. How are we doing for the fuel? Is it levelling up yet? Nope. Yeah, so great shout there from Ashley. I'd completely missed that. It doesn't help that it's hiding behind here. I'm wondering if that will have Yeah, because there's free flow, isn't there, between the wings? Somebody mentioned that, oh crikey, what's his name? Missionary Bush Pilot on YouTube was very careful with his Kodiak about putting it on level ground, because otherwise the fuel will flow from one wing into the other. These, I'm not sure, have they got transfer pumps to push the fuel between the wings? Don't think they have. You'd have to sit the plane somewhere, wouldn't you, for that to work? So this is the TDS GTN 750. The reason it looks better than the PMS is it is running essentially the Garmin simulated software that they use for training within the simulator. So they've taken the real Garmin system software and integrated it into the sim, which is why it looks so good. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes to go until we get to our first waypoint, which is going to be a Ban Mao. Now, does this place have... Yes, it has a tower. So we will end flight following when we get nearby. I wonder if we can switch to tower and retain flight following. I wonder if they'll complain about that. I'll talk to Centre and tell them what we're planning to do when we're a little bit closer.
Yangon Center, Phenom 0 Zulu Yankee, flight level 380.
Still 26 miles out.
Phenom 0 Zulu Yankee, radar contact.
If I slide us to this side of the cockpit, then you get to see some nice views as well as all the instruments.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, I need to amend your flight. Can you tell me your destination?
Destination is Tachilek, but we are going to do touch and goes at Ban Mao, Lashio and Kengtung.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, understood. Destination updated to VTCT.
That's incorrect. Destination is Victor Yankee Tango Lima, Tachilek. Okay. Centre Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, we are switching over to Ban Mao Tower. We will resume flight following after our touch and go. So they don't seem to be overly interested in that, do they? So Banmao, we're going to go to the tower, 118.7. Banmao Tower, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet approaching from the north, 3,000 feet, requesting touch and go.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, runway 15, left circuits approved. Report downwind each time. Cleared touch and go.
Clear touch and go, left circuits approved. We'll let you know when we are downwind. Cessna Echo Juliet. So I'm just looking at the map here. If we turn in and then come downwind, because we've not been told we can go straight in. So we're going to go 150 degrees now. So let's get the heading bug in the right place.
Chancellor 100, holding short of 15, ready to go.
Chancellor 100, winds 140 at 4, runway 15, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff 15, Chancellor 100.
Was that lightning I just saw out there? Good job we have got the weather radar, isn't it? And the terrain mode on the navigation display. So the game we're playing here is go reciprocal and then we can turn around. Or sorry, we are runway direction, sorry, but then we'll turn around, go reciprocal and then turn in. So we'll be downwind at that point. So we can come into the pattern. Let's find out the altitude of the airfield. 377 feet, so 1,400 feet we want to descend to when we get a bit closer. So we come into the pattern. Not that there's any other traffic around, so kind of going over the top with this a little bit, but there we go. Fuel's fairly even now. So we'll turn around more or less when we get to the hills. It's interesting scenery, isn't it? The rain's not helping, of course. Making everything look very drab. Okay, let's go and turn 21 or 210 degrees, I should say. So we're going to bring ourselves in closer to the airfield. got Navigraph running as well, but it doesn't tend to be quite as good at this sort of thing. So you can see, there we are. There's the runway. It has got some new tools now, so we can play games
Chancellor
with
100, contact departure. Good day.
drawing trails on the map.
100, good day.
And it has got a ruler now. The ruler's a bit, I don't know, I don't think it's very intuitive. Okay, let's descend 1400 feet. And we'll turn in a moment to 330 degrees and announce downwind.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, traffic at your 12 o'clock, 3 miles, same altitude, Chancellor.
Copy that. Traffic directly ahead, we have them on ADBC, Echo Juliet. It's ADBS, isn't it? Not ADBC, but anyway. So we are going to start turning to 330. So let's go now. So we're starting our turn, look, and we'll come out and then loop in. We'll announce downwind in a moment. So this is joining the left circuit pattern. We're just coming down to pattern altitude, so 1,000 feet above. There's the runway. So let's go and have a look. Go and put our landing lights on. Tower Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, downwind for touch and go, runway 15.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, runway 15, cleared touch and go.
Cleared touch and go, runway 15 Echo Juliet. Okay, let's turn off the autopilot.
Approaching runway 33. Caution! Caution!
That voice always makes me laugh, I don't know why.
$500.
Approaching runway 15.
Coming in a little bit high, but it doesn't really matter. Didn't judge the flare then, did I? Not used to how tall this airplane is. Could it come off the ground with the flaps extended? That's amazing, isn't it? The amount of lift the flaps gives it. Tower, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, departing runway 15, leaving your airspace to the south.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, leaving airspace approved.
So we'll go back to center frequency now and resume flight following. Center, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, departing from runway 15 at Ban Mao, resuming flight following.
Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, Yangon Center, Ne Kaum La Ban Mao, QNH 1012.
QNH 1012, Echo Juliet. So I'm being asked what are my VR settings. It's more about horsepower with the machine. If you're about to say it looks pretty good, it's because I'm using live weather for one thing. But the machine I'm running this on is a bit of a beast. It's got a 4090 NVIDIA card in it with 24 gig of GPU RAM. It's got 64 gig of system RAM. It's got a crazy fast CPU as well. So it was basically built to play Flight Simulator on. Okay, let's have a look and see where we are. Almost back onto our route. So, autopilot back on, nav mode back on, and we'll climb to a sensible altitude. We'll initially go for 3,000 and then consider what we actually need to be at. So climbing 1,000 feet a minute until we get to 3,000. Oh, we've already gone through 3,000. Okay. 4,000 feet then. We're probably going to need it, to be honest. Let's have a look. Yeah, we are. Look, we're going to need 8,000 feet eventually. So let's carry this on up to 8,000. We don't need the landing lights on anymore. So that's the airfield at Ban Mao that we're just leaving. And we're on our way again. So I completely forgot. Before we took off today, I went and put together a flight plan. So if I go and look in here, and I'm going to have to try and find these files now, which is going to be fun. So C drive, projects, and flights, VFR, there it is. So I've written some software with the help of AI to generate flight plans, and what it will do is make something like this. So this is our route we're flying today, and it takes you, and this is slightly wrong, look, this is the IF, yeah, AI makes mistakes. It hasn't rewritten it. It got it wrong and did IFR to begin with, but anyway. It shows you the map of where we're going. and it shows you each place along the way with some information about that place. So we've just gone through Ban Mao Airport. So I'll read some of this out to you in a moment, and now we're on our way to Lashio Airport. And then on to Kengtung Airport, and then on to Tachilek Airport. But yeah, so it also generates, if we can find it again, the flight plans in PLN format and little navmap PLN format, and the PLNs for 2024 and 2020. It also makes you obviously that PNG of the route. Yeah, so it's quite useful. Using AI to take the drudgery out of doing difficult tasks. Okay, so we can't see where we're going. Thankfully we have this, and it would light up red if there was any scenery in our way. But we can see around ourselves that it's not actually that bad. So, I think given the weather, it might be worth switching to an IFR flight plan. Shall we ask Centre if we can do that? Centre, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, weather is closing in on us. Can we change to an IFR flight plan and file it with you?
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
So I already had a VFR flight
Cessna
plan.
5 Echo Juliet. I wasn't able to build a flight plan to VYYS. That airport identifier isn't recognized. Please verify the destination and try again.
Okay, Centre, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet. We request clearance with an IFR flight plan to Victor Yankee Lima Sierra, then Victor Yankee Kilo Golf, then finally Victor Yankee Tango Lima.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, climb flight level 110. Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, cleared IFR to Victor Yankee. Tango Lima, via filed route, climb altitude 11, 1,000 feet.
Cleared via filed route, climbing 1,000 feet. Cessna 905 Echo Juliet. So we've done something really quite interesting there. During the route, we have filed an IFR flight plan with the controller. They have put it into the system for us. So now we are flying IFR with a cleared flight plan. So we took off VFR, we've hit weather, and we're IFR now, because obviously we have to be, because we can't see where we're going. So this is one of the newer tricks that Say Intentions can do for you. You can switch between VFR and IFR, and you can obviously file your plan with the controllers en route. It may be that we're not going to be doing touch and goes, depending on what the weather's like when we get to Lashio, for example. So it's coming up through 9,000 feet. Do we need to have a look at the... Yeah, we're down to 11 degrees in the cockpit. We need to go and sort that out. If it goes below 10, it's warming up already. Look, if it goes below 10, we'll get the warning about it being too cold in the cockpit. Just coming up to 10,000 feet. I'm going to reduce the climb rate down to 500 feet a minute. You know, the Caravan's very, very capable, but although saying that, let's go and give it a bit more power now then. RPM is looking good. Torque is looking good. And we're creeping up through 10,000 feet on our way to... Now, what was the transition altitude around here? We could always ask... We've got the mentor in the cockpit with us. Let's ask him. Hi, what is the transition altitude in this part of the world?
In Myanmar, the transition altitude is typically 8,000 feet. Above
Okay,
this
same as the
altitude,
US.
you should be operating under standard pressure settings.
That's what I was wondering. So we don't need to do it. We're not going anywhere near 18,000 feet, so we won't need to go to standard barometric pressure. We'll just leave it on local. Now, they did tell us a moment ago, didn't they? Let's go and double check it. 1012. No, yeah, QNH 1012. So let's go and double check what we've got. Not quite enough. Let's go and see what the co-pilot's got on his altimeter. Okay. So we can see the next destination coming into view. 18 minutes out, 56 miles. Should we go and put the radios on? The nav radios. So have we got any beacons around here we can use? Yeah, there is one, look over here. So 11680. And there we go, we've got distance measuring equipment working now, and we can say, obviously we're going straight towards it. Have we got any others we could put on to... No, there's nothing nearby. Well, there's one right out over there, but I bet the range isn't very good on it. Let's have a look. 130 miles, actually. It's got very good range. But it's probably about 130 miles away from us, so there's no point. I was just going to do it to show the arrow flipping round, but there's no real point. Okay. If we get a chance later on, we could have a play with... Oh, they've all got VOR beacons really nearby. I was going to say we could have a play with using the RNAV computer if there's any offset VOR stations near airports that don't have anything. Because obviously when you've got a VOR station on top of an airport, you can almost use it as a localizer in bad weather. This weather is interesting, isn't it? So yeah, I'm just looking at live stream comments. I don't think the simulator does cover hypoxia, so we'll have to go and turn the oxygen on. Can you hear the hiss from it? It's interesting, isn't it? Because I'm not sure what the altitudes. I've got a book on the shelf about human performance with aviation, and not just about obviously hypoxia, but also about what do you call it, saturation. So when the workflow overloads you and you start to make mistakes. But yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a difference between different people are affected by hypoxia or lack of oxygen at different altitudes, and there's no guessing who will be affected worse than others. There was a really good program on years ago where a group of celebrities climbed Mount Kilimanjaro together. for a charity fundraiser. And one of them, who was quite a famous radio presenter at the time, was a bit heavier built than the others and not quite as fit looking. The ones that went to the gym a lot and didn't have so much body weight about them, just by pure chance I guess with their genetics, suffered a lot more than the guy that wasn't as fit as the others. So the guy that was not as fit as the others ended up looking after the rest of the group as they got into the higher altitudes. It was fascinating to watch just how debilitating it was for them. So the ITT is getting a bit high. I'm going to come off the power a bit. So we're just about 11,000 feet. Who needs oxygen? That's quite funny. I think you'll find it's quite important. This is the wonders of live weather, isn't it? I just picked a start time, but I turned the live weather on. Obviously in 2024 it plays the weather that was accurate to the time you're in the airspace, so it remembers it, you know, worldwide. It's pretty clever. Oh, that was lightning, wasn't it? Right in front of us. Didn't hear anything. So 12 minutes, 38 miles. So running in towards Lashio, I'm not sure that this is such a good idea to go and have a look. Let's have a look. Navigraph can tell us the weather, can't it? Well, that's looking okay. There's obviously cloud and it clears below 10,000 feet. So what can I tell you about this place that we're approaching? We're on our way to Lashio Airport, Shan State. So the leg from Ban Mao to Lashio crosses the transition from lowland Kachin Valley to the elevated Shan Plateau. Terrain climbs sharply as the route passes over ridgelines and forested hills before the plateau opens out. Lashio Airport sits at 2,450 feet on the plateau edge, and the surrounding landscape of broad valleys and wooded hillsides marks the entry into the Shan State proper. So this is Shan at this side. Lashio is the largest city in northern Shan State and the northern terminus of the historic Burma Road, the vital overland supply route from Kunming, China, used by Allied forces during the Second World War. The airport sits near the former headquarters of the Northeast Military Command. On the 30th of July 2024, the airport was captured by the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army during ongoing civil conflict, and pilots should check NOTAMs and current political advisories before operating at this facility. So, thankfully, Flight Simulator doesn't take into account politics or civil war. So we get to visit places we wouldn't be able to in the real world. That weather is not looking anything like what Navigraph... Oh, the Navigraph will be live though, won't it? Not that I've wound the time back to this morning in Myanmar. So this weather may have cleared later in the day, but right now this is looking pretty horrendous. And I'm not sure I want to risk it. So yeah, someone is making another good point on the live stream about checking on the outside air temperature, which I am trying to remember where it is on this aeroplane. There's the cabin temp. Where have they hidden it? It's not on the door, is it? No, it's not up here somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's fine. It's a bit toasty out there, actually. Yeah, that's not looking great down there, is it, to approach? I mean, we can. And we could play with the RNAV, or we can just do a NAV1, to be honest. We need to be very aware, though, of altitudes. Because there's a ridge right here, for example, but the altitude of the airfield... ...2,500 feet. Yeah, well, I read that from the document, didn't I? We're on 11680 already, aren't we? So if we were going to do this, do we do it, is the question. 6 knots from the west on the wind from where we are. Wind on the ground. It's 50 degrees, 7 knots. So it's coming in over here. So it supports runway 01 really. Has this got a tower? Yes it does, 118,700. I don't know, I really don't know. That looks pretty horrible down there, doesn't it? I mean, we could do it. There's a VOR there, so we can use the distance measuring equipment to judge altitude above 2,500 feet. So we'd need to be at 5,000 feet, 7 miles out. And then it means a lot of a mental arithmetic, doesn't it? If you, and I don't think we've got any visibility down there. It looks horrific. Talking myself out of it, aren't I? We can try, I guess. So let's go and talk to Lescio on the radio. So we want Victor Yankee Lima Sierra. It's not on our IFR flight plan though, that's the problem. Unless we deviate from it and then come back to it later. Oh, what do we do? What do we do? Lashio Tower, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, approaching from the north, requesting touch and go, runway 01.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, runway 01, left-hand circuits approved, cleared touch and go.
Clear touch and go, left-hand circuits approved, 905 Echo Juliet, will report downwind. So we need to descend then in a hurry. Let's go and turn head tracking off to do this. We're going to go down into the murk to 5,000 feet. And okay, so we're going to go and turn to 19 now. Oh, he says as soon as I can get the blooming.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, contact Yangon Center on 126.75.
Crusader 7 Uniform Foxtrot holding short of 1, ready to go.
Crusader 7 Uniform Foxtrot, wind 050 at 7, runway 1, cleared for takeoff.
1 cleared for takeoff, Crusader 7 Uniform Foxtrot.
Tower Echo Golf, sorry, 905 Echo Juliet, negative, we are not calling center, we are lining up for touch and go, runway 01.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, touch and go, runway 01 approved, wind 050 at 7.
Touch and go approved, copy the wind, Echo Juliet. So we're coming down to 5,000 feet, so if we keep an eye on this, we need to turn the CDI over to VLOC, and then we can change this round to the right direction as well. Whoops. So runway is at 10 degrees. This will only be a broad an approximation. We could use the RNAV computer, which will make it exact. So that might be worth getting ready actually, just in case. So what you can do is go measure from here to here. So we've got 193 degrees, 0.6 miles. So on this thing down here, we can go data. It's on RNAV mode already. So frequency is 11680. And then radial is a 193. Distance 0.6 miles. So that's the RNAV data. We've now made a virtual localizer, essentially. We're just coming down towards 5,000 feet. So then if we switch this over to RNAV, this is now reflecting this. And it means we've essentially got a line projected out here that we can follow on the nav instrument going straight into runway 01. Okay. That's not long enough, but you get the idea. So if we fly out past this Mihan place over here, and we'll ask about Lashio on the way in. Hi Sarah, what can you tell us about Lashio?
I'm a tour guide, so I focus on sharing information about landmarks, history, and interesting places we fly over. If you have a question about a specific site or location, I'd be happy to help.
Yes, I want to know about Lashio Airport, which is off to our left. Well, hopefully it is.
Lashio Airport, officially known as Viels, was built during World War II and played a key role as a supply base for Allied forces. Today, it's a regional airport serving the northern Shan state, and its location in the hills makes for some pretty scenic approaches. Just don't forget to wave at the mountains as you come in. The airport is a lifeline for the local community, connecting remote areas to the rest of Myanmar. Aviation enthusiasts often appreciate its unique setting and the challenging terrain.
I just realised the DME doesn't work with this. Does this have it on it? Distance, yeah. Knots, minutes, no. Oh, nautical miles. Yes, it does. Oh, so is that actually reflecting RNAV? It must be. Yeah. Okay. So we are downwind. Tower, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, downwind for touch and go, runway 01.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, wind 050 at 7, runway 01, clear touch and go.
Clear touch and go, runway 01, 905 Echo Juliet. So we're going to need to be really careful. We have got some visibility and the instruments, so the combination of this distance and this will help us. Now we can, if I remember how to do it, you can put it into approach mode, which amplifies the signal. So we're also going to do that. This is say intentions I'm using, yes. It's providing, I'm just reading the live stream comments there. It's providing air traffic services. It's been quite an eventful one because the weather closed in and we had to file an IFR flight plan while we were in the air, which is something say intentions can do, and it did it. It was really good. So I'm just extending downwind a little bit. So I'm going to come off the autopilot and start bringing us in. We can see the ground, so it's not as horrific as we thought it might be. So let's go and turn the landing lights on. See, now we've got the RNAV computer is going to be telling us where the center line of the runway is, but it's only approximate. Is it the other side of the hills? I suppose it must be. We'll go in the back of the hill. Now, don't be surprised if we lose the signal then, because we're going behind a hill, and we know the VOR that we're using to do this on the RNAV computer is the other side of that hill. So
Terrain ahead.
Oh, we're getting
Terrain ahead.
warnings. I'm turning away from the hill now. It's very cool, isn't it? So I'm now watching the RNAV computer very closely. The CDI is starting to move, I think. Yep, the CDI is on the march. So we'll turn in towards it in a moment. Three and a half miles to run. Two and a half miles to run. It's going to be right in the worst part of the rainstorm, isn't it? We may have to abort this at the 11th hour. Look at the rain,
Terrain
oh
ahead.
my word.
Terrain ahead. Obstacle ahead. Terrain ahead. Obstacle ahead.
runway
Pull
up.
up.
Caution,
Obstacle ahead.
caution.
Pull.
1.9 miles. Oh my word, this is ridiculous.
500.
We are dead on line with the center line projected by RNAV. 1.5 miles to run. We're still on line with RNAV. I'm going to have to abort. There's no way. 0.9 miles. And there's the runway. It's slightly off to the right. To the left even. We can get a touch and go in. That's interesting. So we didn't have the right runway direction. But at least it got us into the neighborhood. Well, that was exciting. Unintentionally exciting, I'm afraid, but so it flaps up. We'll just climb out in a straight line. Tower Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, climbing out runway 01, leaving your airspace. If we turn east, I guess. Although that's towards hills, isn't it? Maybe it's safer to turn left. Okay, let's go and turn landing lights back off. Go and set this back for 11,000 feet. And go back to tower. Sorry, to center. Center, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, back with you, resuming IFR flight plan. Oh, it's telling us we're stalling. Let's get some speed going. Center, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, radio check.
Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, Yangon Center. Sounds great from here.
Center, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, resuming IFR flight plan.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, resume IFR cleared. Maintain 11,000.
Climbing 11,000 feet. Cessna 905 Echo Juliet. Oh, crikey. I've just realised this is on the wrong CDI mode, which is why the GPS is turning us left instead of onto the track, which I just lined us up with. So let's go back to heading mode and correct it while we climb. How are we doing on the engine and the RPM? Are looking good. Okay. We've now got quite a run across the hills. So let's go and have a look on our map. We're about to go straight line at 145 miles over to Kengtung. Climbing back out to 11,000 feet. Hopefully the weather will break. So, this route, this part of the route, this is the longest leg of the route. 145 nautical miles on a southeasterly track crosses the most demanding terrain of the entire flight. From Lashio, the route sweeps across the core of the Shan Plateau, before the landscape becomes even more rugged as the eastern Shan Hills rise towards the Chinese and Laotian borders. Kengtung Airport occupies a hilltop basin at nearly 2,800 feet. Let's go find it on the map. So this is the... Here's Kengtung. So let's have a read about it. So Kengtung, also romanized as Kengtung or Kengtung, is the cultural capital of the Shan Plateau's eastern uplands, known for its Buddhist monasteries, its hill tribe market, and its strategic position near the borders with China, Laos, and Thailand. The surrounding hills are home to Shan, Akha, Lahu, and other hill peoples. The airport serves routes south to Hihou and west to Mandalay. There's Hihou. Okay, there's a few other aeroplanes around, but not many. Nobody's mad enough to be out in this weather, are they? how are we doing with the oxygen? That's loads. And how are we doing with the fuel burn? That's looking good as well. How are we doing with the rudder trim? It's not perfect, is it? Let's go play with it again. There we go. Coming up through 10,000 feet. So let's go and tune the VOR into the next one. Presumably this has got a lovely, nice long range on it. Yes, it has, 130 miles. But it's 140 miles on our route, so 11560. Yeah, it's lost the signal for the moment. That's fine. And we'll bring the HSI around to point at least in the direction we're going. At the moment it's pointing behind us, but that's because it's in GPS mode, so this is reflecting the track. So there's obviously a crosswind going on, so if we put that in the middle you can see how much we're tracking off for the crosswind. Let's have a look on the tablet in the aeroplane, see how the systems are doing. So we lost 1% of engine, that's when I was overdriving the torque earlier. But otherwise the engine is looking fine. Electric system is absolutely fine. Cabin is good, it's all green. Very cool. So we got 25 degrees, a bit toasty. Not too bad though. Should turn that down a bit. There is a storm cell. It's quite a long way away from us though, look. But we are going to be passing it unless hopefully the wind isn't going across. No, it's the opposite way. Actually no, the wind is blowing it. The wind is going to blow that towards us. So by the time we get there, that might be in front of us. We'll see. Why have we continued climbing? Realised we've climbed up through 12,500 feet. We were only supposed to be at 11. That's interesting. I've armed it this time, but it should have done it before. I obviously missed something in the procedure there with programming the autopilot. Okay, so once we get the aeroplane stabilized in the cruise. Oh, the weather might be breaking. This would be quite useful. That's horrific out there, isn't it? What I'll do, because I'm going to go and make myself a coffee, I'm going to go and open the window layout as minimal. Put this over here so you can see it. So that's where we're going. Now I'll hide the taskbar. There we go. Something else we could play with in the system is if we pull back up say intention settings, we can. I think now we're back on an IFR flight plan. We can have our co-pilot. So I'll remove Sarah. Give myself Amanda, and then I'll go back into tour guides and put Sarah on intercom 2. There we go. And the reason I'm doing this, hi Amanda, how are you doing? She's invisible, but she is here.
I'm doing well, Jonathan. Let's focus on the flight.
Can you look after radio comms for the next few minutes, Amanda?
Sure, I'll handle the radio comms for now.
Cool. So now we're obviously on an IFR flight plan. The co-pilot can help out with the radio from say intentions. So when the controllers ask while I'm away, there's a risk obviously that they'll do a sector change. I'm not sure that they will. We could figure it out by looking at little nav map. I'm going to leave you looking out this way so you can see some scenery. And it's not quite as noisy as outside, is it? Unless you don't mind being out here. So I'm going to go make a coffee. I'll be back in a few minutes. So, just before I do go, Nicola Sayev, is saying 2 months away from Flight Simulator and say intentions has changed quite a lot. It has. It's always evolving. There's an awful lot more functionality in say intentions now. I mentioned it earlier. Let me go inside the aeroplane to talk about it. I mentioned earlier you can now choose whether it vectors you in the during the standard terminal arrival routes on an IFR flight plan. There's tons of things that you can choose its behavior quite specifically. In terms of lots of factors in terms of flight guidance and planning. It's very, very clever. Anyway, I'm going to go make that coffee. Okay, I'm back. Just going to go and check. Volume levels are good. Yeah, it's all looking fine. It's pretty noisy out here, isn't it? Should we go and jump back inside the aeroplane? How are we doing? Let's have a look. If we zoom out, we can see the next destination coming. 28 minutes out, 89 miles to run. It's showing on the DME for the VORs as well. Interesting that the HSI is so far out. I guess the wind has abated, yeah. And we've still got this in RNAV mode, haven't we? So it's going to be trying to amplify it probably. And the weather out ahead of us, yeah, that storm cell did come in. There it is, look. That's the one that was blowing across our path. There's nothing out there, look. It's like this mobile problem. And no, I'm not going to fly through the middle of it. We've already had enough adventurous interludes for one day, I think. I don't think we need any anti-icing measures. If you look, it's actually quite warm. It's just, yeah, that doesn't look very friendly out there, does it? If we turn head tracking on, it'll be a bit more natural looking. But yeah, it's a horrific looking storm, isn't it? Basically, that entire cloud structure is dumping itself on the ground below. You wouldn't want to be under that, would you? Raining cats and dogs. I mean, if we wanted to, we could avoid flying through the middle of this cloud ahead of us. But maybe by the time we get there, the wind will have blown it sideways. This is, it's only a 6-knot wind, so it's being pushed that way. Do you know what? I may deviate from the track on purpose. Center Cessna 905 Echo Juliet. We are going to deviate from our planned flight track to the right for a few miles to avoid weather.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, deviation approved. Resume on navigation when clear.
We'll resume when clear. Echo Juliet. That was lightning lighting up in there, wasn't it? I don't fancy that somehow. It looks horrible. Definitely lighting up down there, isn't it? Yep. As we look, a bolt of lightning shoots across the sky. And another one. And another one. I think the CDI is coming back in. I'm going to brush the edge of the clouds. I've got 11,100 feet dialed in, that's a mistake. It's just going to gently correct itself. Okay, out of the woods. Look at this, there's lightning coming down over there as well. It's all over the place. Okay, that was unintentionally exciting, wasn't it? How are we doing for oxygen? We got loads. So, flight plan, let's have a look. Running in towards the next airfield, about 20 minutes away, 65 miles on the map. So we are on our way to Kengtung Airport. So we are on the longest leg of the route, 145 nautical miles, southeasterly track. I read this bit earlier, didn't I? So the elevation of the destination airport is 2,798 feet, so 2,800 feet. Let's go and have a look at it on the map. So it has got a VOR. Hopefully the weather's going to be clear when we get there, but we can prepare for it if we absolutely need to. So, and we'll get the runway direction correct this time, hey? I'm guessing it's going to be runway 30. Oh, let's get the weather locally. 54 degrees 3 knots. That's more like runway 12, isn't it? There's hardly any wind though. we'll see what we do. If we get in the vicinity and the weather's horrific, then we'll think again, but I think we might be okay now. I bet it's there, isn't it? We've already seen one unintentionally exciting touch and go. We need to retrim the rudder, look. It's draining one of the fuel tanks again. Just putting the bubble in the middle. So we've drank more of the left tank than the right one. So we'll turn off the left tank. Okay, so the big decision is, do we go for another touch and go? Let's go and have a look at the landscape around this. So it's on a plateau, so it's easy to approach. Yeah, I guess we wait until we clear these hills and then we'll get a clear look at what the weather's like over the airport, about whether we bother going for the touch and go or not. I mean, it is good fun and gives us something to do en route. In terms of the lay of the land on the way in, you can see it here. If we go so we're flying along. So it's quite a drop, isn't it? So that hilltop is not going to be far below. Oh no, we're up here though. So we're at 11,000. That gives you more idea. So yeah, we've got 8,000 clearance over the hilltop. So we can descend to 8, but then we're on IFR 11. Oh, we'll see.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet. Plan for descent in maybe 20 minutes.
Planning for descent in 20 minutes. Actually, before we get there, I'm going to do a touch and go at the next airfield, which will be Kengtung.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, roger. Advise when ready to resume IFR to VYTL.
Will advise when resuming. Echo Juliet.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, roger. Standing by.
Okay, so it's up to us again. I bet this is going to be right in the middle of this cloud again. Oh my word. We're going to have to do some homework, aren't we, to figure out what we're going to do. Okay, let's see if we can set up. Is this still showing 60 degrees 6 knots? So it's swirling a little bit. So it's kind of that direction. Just looking at the compass here. That direction. So we're looking at runway 12 definitely. So 122 degrees. Actually, let's measure the vector here from the VOR. Measure, because we're going to set up a 302 degrees. So 282 degrees, 0.3 miles. Frequency 11560. What we're doing here is using the RNAV computer to invent a localizer for ourselves. Radial 282 degrees. Distance 0.3, wasn't it? Yeah, 0.3 miles. Okay. So then we'll put this on heading hold for the moment, so then we can switch over to it and set the HSI up. So we'll go heading hold. We know we can descend to 8,000. Take the power off. So RNAV is ready to go. So we can change this over to VLOC, put this over to RNAV, and then change the course to 122 degrees. Which is what we already have. Why is this... Oh no, it's not on 122 at all, is it? 122 would be about there. Okay. And that makes sense that we're coming in from an angle. So we are going to contact the airport at Kengtung, Victor Yankee Kilo Golf. We could tune it in directly, I guess. So if we go and click on the airport here, com radio tower 118700. Okay, we got it on our standby frequency anyway. We're descending as we go. We're still quite a long way out, aren't we? About 40 miles away. 34.6 even. So what we've done is program in the RNAV computer to make this vector into to this point on the ground. So then if we fly down that, so essentially this is going to reflect that line on the map. We need to go and put this onto approach mode as well. So if you press RNAV, it toggles it and it just amplifies the difference on the CDI. So let's go and zoom in on this. Coming down to 8,000 feet, so it should hold at 8,000. And then what we'll try and do is clear this hill, depending on what they tell us. Obviously they may tell us they want us in a pattern, which is fine. But we'll wait until we're a little bit closer. Let's speed up a bit now at level. Great visibility, isn't it? But hopefully we'll drop out of this as we descend into the plateau. Okay. So we've got a few minutes yet. And we've got, this will show red for, I've got the elevation plot switched on. Yeah, you can see, look, we're not, oh, actually that hill over there is remarkably close to it. And that one, oh my word. And those, oh my word. We need to keep an eye on those. It could be that we're going to clear them by 1,000 feet. That's that ridge line. But we're basically going to use every trick we've got again to try and get in sensibly. So let's go and remind ourselves. Elevation of the runway is 2,700 feet. We're about, how far are we away now? 25 miles. When we get to 20 miles, we'll call the tower, say we're approaching from the northwest, 8,000 feet, requesting touch and go, and see what they say. Hopefully it'll be okay. Okay, I'm going to call them now. I've already tuned in, haven't I? I'm just double checking things. 11870. 11870. Okay. And it's Kengtung Tower. Kengtung Tower, Cessna 905, Echo Juliet, approaching from the northwest at 8,000 feet, requesting touch and go.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, touch and go approved, runway 12.
Touch and go approved, runway 12, Cessna Echo Juliet. So we can go straight in then, we don't have to mess around this time. We'll just clear the hilltop and then we will turn 166 then. Well, that's the plan. We need to stay very close to our line because either side of it, as you can see, could put us into a hillside. So I've just put another couple of degrees on the heading bug. So from the point we clear the line, so it's about 8 miles then, from the point we clear the hillside, which is plenty. Yeah, so we're clearing the lower part of this hill, so we're okay. Let's get the landing lights on. How are we doing for temperatures? 23 degrees in the cabin, that's all perfect. Airspace alerts keep popping up on the displays, they're fine. So let's go and zoom in. So if you're wondering what this line is, if we were to experience an engine failure, that's how far we can glide. Okay, so this should be reflecting the runway direction relative to us. We're going to be able to see it, aren't we? It's a lot clearer than we thought. We had this abundance of caution. We thought we might be in that, but we're not. The weather has been kind for a change. Autopilot off. Let's turn for 166 degrees or thereabouts. We're just going across the hillside until this CDI comes in, and then we'll just descend down on it. Okay, CDI is on the move. See the bar moving. When it gets towards the middle, we'll turn towards it and we should come out of the cloud facing the runway. But obviously it's a few miles out. We are still 8 miles away. But let's go and put ourselves on a bit of a stronger path towards it. Is that it? I think it might be. Well, you don't get much better lined up than that, do you? Without an ILS. I'll take that. I don't know, all that worry on the way in, would it be possible? And yeah, the weather has been very kind to us in this plateau. Let's start getting the speed under control for the touch and go.
Approaching runway 12.
Extending the flaps. Can't really see them easily from in here. They are there on this.
Sync rate.
We're a little bit high. So this has got VASI lights, so we're looking for a pair of red and a pair of white lights.
500.
There we go. It's just happened. So if you get all reds, you're too low. If you get all whites, you're too high. We can obviously put this aeroplane down in about 1/5 of this runway length. But whoa, what's going on? The parking brake had switched on. I just cycled it and it came off again. That's why we shimmied.
5 Echo Juliet, welcome to Kengtung. Taxi to stand, parking 6 at your discretion. Stay with me.
Negative. Echo Juliet, we are doing a touch and go. We're taking off again.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, roger, touch and go approved, runway 12.
Echo Juliet, departing runway 12, leaving your airspace. I was a bit brief with him, wasn't I? He's probably writing me up right now for that one. Kengtung Tower, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, leaving your airspace.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, contact Kengtung departure on 119.7.
Switching to Kengtung departure on 119.7. Cessna 905 Echo Juliet.
So
Kengtung approach.
there we
Cessna
go.
905 Echo Juliet. Good afternoon, climbing through 3500.
Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, Kengtung approach. Expect the VOR runway 22 approach into Tachilek.
No, in. Oh, Tachilek, there we go.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, radar contact 3 southeast of Kengtung at 4,000 feet. Kengtung QNH 1014.
Kengtung QNH 1014. Cessna 905 Echo Juliet.
Just corrected our barometric pressure because obviously the weather's changed quite a
VOR
lot.
runway 22 approach into Tachilek. Cessna 905 Echo Juliet.
Okay, so let's go and get this sorted out to clear these hills on the way. So it's on roll hold and pitch hold at the moment, or vertical speed, sorry. So what sort of altitude do we need for this last part of the route? At least 6,000 feet by the look of it. I'm going to go for 8. Feet a minute. Should be able to do that easily enough. We can turn the landing lights back off, by the way, for the moment. So they're telling us expecting a runway 22 approach into Tachilek. Let's go and have a look. Oh, we're approaching the GPS as well. We ought to go and put this back on nav mode. Runway 22, okay. We can do the same again with the RNAV if we really want to be super accurate about it. But I think it's looking like, or I say it's looking like the weather's clearing. It's not over there, is it? So maybe it would be prudent to go and do this again. Measure. Who knew we would be doing this so much today? So we want 11450. And we want 32 degrees and 0.6 nautical miles. Oh, the click spots on these are terrible. So that was just telling us we're within 1,000 feet of our target. Still 23 in the cockpit, that's good. The fuel is fairly level. We got a bit more in that tank now. We'll go and put it back on. How are we doing on the drift? Yeah, that's why it keeps wobbling. Look, we're not flying in a straight line. It's gone the other way now. Of course it has. Couldn't be useful, could it? And stay in the middle. Right. What is this doing? Oh, I didn't change the CDI over, did I? That's why it's having a bit of a mare trying to grab the track. So let's put it on heading mode for the moment and tell it to come back across. So that's my fault entirely. We were lining up for the runway then. That was funny. 162 degrees should have been the track. About there. So then if we cut in at 20 or 200 degrees, that will give us a vector to cut back in, come across this way. That one's entirely on me for not looking what we were doing and changing modes back. That just shows you need to be aware of that. We were obviously playing with RNAV on the way in on the last runway, and I went back to nav mode and didn't switch the CDI mode back to GPS. So we were busy flying off into the middle of nowhere. Luckily we caught it before it got too far. The controller's probably watching us on the radar thinking, what on earth? We were almost flying into this. Looks like the approach path, doesn't it? Are they letting people in runway 30 now? Though maybe not, because they're taking off and they're climbing. So that's departing runway 12. So that's the active runway. They're descending. Maybe they're about to change runways because the wind is probably, yeah, it was swirling, wasn't it? So, Tachilek is next. Hi Amanda, I can take over radio comms now.
All right, Jonathan, you have the radio comms now.
So we'll just get back on track and then we'll call the tower when we're a bit closer, and that'll be the end of the flight for today. This has been interesting, hasn't it? I think the main takeaway today was that we were able to file an IFR flight plan while we were on a VFR flight and switch to it. And this is not looking great, is it? Again. Hopefully we'll come out the other side of it and be happy. Thankfully we have the GTN, or GTNXI I think it's called, isn't it? Which is showing us there's no red here, so we're not at the same altitude as any hills. So we're going to fly into the middle of nothing. Oh, crikey. Okay, trust in your instruments. Okay, we're getting there. Did they say runway 22? Yeah. So we're just approaching the track for the GPS. So if we go back to nav mode now, it will behave itself. So it should start turning left in a moment to rejoin the track. Here's the lovely clouds. Hopefully we'll come straight through this cloud and there'll be nothing the other side of it, and it'll be lovely and clear for our approach. Somehow I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. Yeah, it's just showing us like murk here, so we should be through it fairly quickly.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, descend altitude 7,000 feet, turn left heading 115 vectors for the VOR runway 22 approach, QNH 1013.
Descending 7,000 feet, turning left to 115 vectors for the VOR runway 22 approach, QNH 1013, Cessna Echo Juliet. So we're already...
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, descend altitude 7,000 feet, QNH 1013.
So (115). Approach Cessna Echo Juliet, approaching 7,000 feet, heading 115. So what was the altitude of the runway? So what they're doing, they'll pull us in probably a 40-degree track. Elevation 1,200 feet or 1,300 feet or thereabouts. We'll just follow the instructions. We've got the localizer showing us the runway direction. So we need to put this on 219 degrees though on the CDI. Oh, we can't yet, but we can now because we're not using GPS anymore for the guidance, so we can go put this over to RNAV and use what we've just configured earlier. But we need to put this to 219 degrees. So then that reflects the actual runway direction. If you look at what they're making us do, something like that. I haven't quite got that right, but you get the idea. About there, maybe? Yeah. Okay.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, descend altitude 6,000 feet.
Descending 6,000 feet, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, proceed direct FF22. Descend altitude 4,000 feet until established, cleared for the VOR runway 22 approach.
Proceeding FF22, descending 4,000 feet, Echo Juliet. .175 degrees. We'll hear a beep in a moment as we come through 5 because it's 1,000 feet from 4. We'll We'll also see the CDI come in where we programmed the RNAV, so we'll see the center line, which is quite useful because it looks like visibility is going to be poor. There's the beep. So we are why is
Eagle
the
9
RNAV
Bravo
wrong?
Alpha contact DACA control upper DACA con center on 125.7.
114.5.
125.7 for Eagle 9er Bravo Alpha. Good day.
I just want to correct the DME. Okay, so now we're at 4,000 feet. Gonna skim this hilltop. Good job I looked up, really. How look are we doing for, yeah, cabin temperature's fine. Landing lights are on. And you can see the runway center line is actually projected on the GPS as well. It should agree with this. But we've got good visibility anyway after all. After all the preparation, we didn't need it. It's always the way, isn't it? But better safe than sorry, hey? Give us a bit more power. Don't need to slow down just yet. Can we see the airport yet?
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, contact Tachilek Tower on 118.7 at FF22.
We'll contact Tachilek Tower 118.7 at FF22, Echo Juliet. So we're just approaching FF22, so let's go change frequencies. Come off the autopilot. Tachilek Tower, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, lining up runway 12. Sorry, runway 22.
Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, Tachilek Tower, runway 12 not available. Use runway 22.
Lining up runway 22, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet, apologies.
Cessna 5 Echo Juliet, runway 22, wind 050 at 7, cleared to land.
Clear to land, runway 22, Cessna 905 Echo Juliet. So we're just coming in on the... See, this is the RNAV, so there is no localizer, but the RNAV computer lets us do this, which is really cool. Let's get the speed down now. Okay, this is our destination for today. This is going to be a full stop landing.
Approaching runway 22.
$500.
I'm just rolling long now, so let's put the flaps up while we're rolling to get to the parking area. It's shimmying under the braking. Very cool.
Approaching runway 4.
Parking brake on.
Approaching runway 4.
Done. Another flight to put in the books. Does that open? It does, doesn't it? In this version of the airplane. There we go. We survived. Back in time for TN medals. So there is some options in this airplane, I think, for tie downs and things like that. So if you go into options, or maybe not. Payloads. Oh, here we go. Yeah, wheel chocks. A rudder lock can go back in place. That only appears, I think, if you've got that there as well. Pitot covers can go on. We won't put the engine covers on just yet, it will overheat them probably. And we could put the external power in place if we wanted to. So there we go. Okay, we're done. So hopefully you enjoyed that. That was an unintentionally exciting flight. I thought it might be quite boring flying across the jungle, but the weather threw a massive curveball at us, didn't it? So it was really good fun coming in with the difficult weather along the way and filing a flight plan, filing an IFR flight plan during a VFR flight, which was really interesting to do as well. Obviously we used the RNAV computer in the Black Square Caravan to good effect as well, to give us a little bit of extra guidance here and there. It was really strange that one of the runways didn't line up. I probably did something silly there, or the scenery, it doesn't match what's on the ground, but anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about that. So that was the 21st flight around the world, or 21st leg of the flight around the world that I've been doing. So I imagine I'll be heading off east next. I'm not entirely sure, or maybe do we go via Malaysia and then along the island chain, or do we, if we go to the Philippines, it means we have to jump and do an ocean flight at some point across the South China Sea, whereas if we go down through Malaysia and then East Timor, or maybe go island hopping, and that might be the better way through Indonesia, and then into Papua New Guinea, and then Australia, and then start hopping there. There is going to be an enormous flight at some point, obviously, to get between the end of the island chain, so we're going to get as far as what is it? Mataveri. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, then following that will be into South America, and then climbing back up through the Americas bit by bit, sort of about 300-400 miles at a time. So this was a good distance today, wasn't it? 350 miles in a fairly quick plane. It didn't drag too much. Obviously we'll be looking for points of interest along the way. The weather was the point of interest today, really. So yeah, thank you ever so much if you've been watching along with me. Do click the like button and subscribe. I'm terrible at marketing myself. I just put the videos out on YouTube and let people do what they want with them. It's kind of, you watching is a byproduct of me just enjoying flying airplanes in the simulator. It's kind of my downtime. So thanks ever so much if you have been watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care.